Okay, 3 words to describe how I felt when I found out is shock, gratitude, and I was ecstatic.
Me sentí orgullosa, elated, and honored.
Happy, humbled, and extremely honored to make the list.
Shocked, humbled, and inspired.
Over the moon.
When I found out I was selected as a 30 under 30 honoree, I felt extremely grateful,
Proud,
and inspired.
Energized, empowered,
Honored,
surprised,
humbled,
thrilled,
Excited.
thankful, and reinvigorated.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this inaugural 30 Under 30 celebration. My name is Vianni Lubus, and I'm the Vice President of NextGen Collective, which is a new movement for the next generation of Latinx professionals, powered by Hispanic Executive Magazine, whose work is to amplify the voices of Latino leadership in America. And we're here today to celebrate NextGen Collective's 30 Under 30 honorees. And let me tell you, this inaugural cohort of 30 Latinx professionals that we're celebrating are simply incredible. They are all rising in their companies and in their fields, but they're also working hard to improve their communities and to elevate the Latino profile. And so they span a variety of different industries, including media and tech, finance, healthcare, auto and transportation, consulting, food and beverage, marketing, fashion, government, and also in the nonprofit world. And we're just so excited to spend some time here today to give them the recognition that they so deserve. And I also want to take a moment to thank our partner, Goldman Sachs, for sponsoring this event. Goldman Sachs has been a long-standing partner of NextGen Collective since launching in January of 2019. And we're just honored and humbled to partner with such a high-profile organization that has such a strong commitment to promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion and elevating our Latinx business community. So thank you again for your support here today. I can't wait to hear from you momentarily. I also want to take a quick moment to thank our selection committee, and I'm going to read them by name: Roman Navarrete, Argelia Martinez, Francisco Javier Arceo, Jai Vargas, Cindy Rivas, and Maite Alonso, because it was a tall order to comb through hundreds of nominations, hundreds of young Latinx leaders, each making a difference. And we were all just so floored by how much talent is out there, my friends. So the future is very bright. Again, gracias a todos for your support. Now, before we begin, I just want to briefly go over our agenda. So today, the celebration is structured very much like a fun commencement ceremony where we're going to hear from 30 Under 30 honoree Stephanie Nuesi. She is going to be representing her fellow honorees here today. And Stephanie is the CEO and founder of the career consulting firm Max Up, which specializes in helping college students and young professionals land their dream careers. And she also recently landed a dream career at Google. So felicidades, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being with us. I can't wait to hear from you shortly. Also, throughout the program today, you're going to have the opportunity to learn a bit about how each honoree is helping to support and uplift their community. So a lot of great inspiration coming your way very soon. Also, we're going to hear some words of wisdom and encouragement from our commencement speaker, Stephen Wolf Pereira. Stephen is the CEO and co-founder of Encantos, which is a story teaching platform that creates culturally rich curriculum-infused learning experiences for children. Stephen was also recently named to Hispanic Executive's 2021 Top 10 Líderes list, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. And so can't wait to hear from you, Stephen. Thank you so much for being with us today. And then we're going to wrap up with a surprise musical performance. So make sure that you stay tuned until the very, very end. You don't want to miss it. And so now we'll kick off and get started. We're going to hear some welcome remarks from a very, very proud supporter of this group, Megan Hogan, Chief Diversity Officer at Goldman Sachs. Megan, take it away.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Megan Hogan, as Vianni said. I'm the Chief Diversity Officer of Goldman Sachs. I identify as a woman, Latina, Black, and an introvert, which most people don't believe, considering I love to do events like this and participate in all the great programming that is put on by this wonderful organization. NextGen's leadership is fantastic, but I first really want to thank Vianni and Jill and others who put this fantastic program together. It's always a pleasure working with my ladies. So a little bit more about me. Like I said, I've been at Goldman Sachs for 7 years, recently appointed to the role of Chief Diversity Officer. Before that, I was the Global Head of Diversity Recruiting for the firm, and I'm an attorney by background. What I'm really compelled by is the diversity of this group. And so we all know that the Latinx community is not monolithic. Many of you come from not only across the US, but the Caribbean, from South America, and from Europe. It's a really amazing opportunity to reflect on the fact that we come from all different parts of the globe, but in terms of the way that we have commonality is the way that we have grit, resiliency, and are doing great things, not just in our professional lives, but in our personal as well. My family came here from the Dominican Republic, from the town of Samana, which was then largely a fishing village. Beautiful, beautiful place if you've never been there before. And they were escaping persecution under Rafael Trujillo at the time. And so, due to great atrocities that were happening both to both our people, but, to the neighboring country of Haiti, there were a lot of opportunities that were lost for my family and the next generation of talent. And so coming to the United States was a huge leap for us. We went from being a majority under persecution and discrimination to a minority under different areas of persecution and discrimination. And so the through line for us was always being entrepreneurial as hairdressers, thanks to a lot of Dominican hairdressers, I'm sure, as many of you know, are known for doing hair. And that paid actually for the education of many of my family members. My mom's the oldest of six here in the United States, in the Washington Heights area and in Brooklyn. And so entrepreneurship, grit, resiliency, focus on education, and making sure that, we were pulling the next generation of talent behind us, ahead of us as well. And I can see that in many of you today. So congratulations, of course, to this inaugural class. As Vianni said, you span many industries across everything that you do. I read through every single profile, and I'm beyond impressed by all the work that you are doing. Many of you are winners of prestigious awards, such as the Peabody. You founded nonprofits. You're working on closing the diversity gap in technology. You invest in communities of color, and you support entrepreneurship. You're helping advance diversity in animation to inspire the next generation of talent. Really hits home for me as the mom of two young boys who sometimes don't always see themselves when it comes to the media and the shows that they watch. You're part of data science teams that are helping make critical decisions when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic, which we know has disproportionately impacted the Latinx community. Consistently, you're also making major contributions to philanthropic efforts as well in community service in many of the countries in which we have lived or where our ancestors have lived as well. For example, Katie Fernandez is an up-and-coming media mogul, but also co-founded the nonprofit Lazos al Futuro with her sister to empower and uplift the Dominican Republic's youth leaders and improve high school and college graduation rates. In addition to your demanding day jobs, you're also making impact on diverse communities within the four walls of your companies. I'd be remiss not to shout out one of our very own here at Goldman Sachs, Victor Delara, who is an associate in our controllers division. He's also the co-chief operating officer of our Hispanic and Latinx Affinity Network in our Salt Lake City office. He's really helpful in recruiting, retaining, and developing Latinx talent for the firm. And importantly, you're demonstrating, like I said, the power of grit and resiliency. You'll hear directly from her later in the program, as Vianni noted. But Stephanie came to the US only 5 years ago, and within just 1 year, mastered the English language and nabbed her first job. Before the age of 30, she founded Max Up, a career consulting firm that specializes in helping college students and professionals land their dream careers while maximizing their potential. So obviously, I could go on and on and on about all of the winners, but importantly, we're here to celebrate. We have a fantastic program. And so I'm going to give all of the winners a virtual abrazo, but please enjoy the rest of the program, and I look forward to interacting with many of you in the future.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Herrera, and today I'm helping support my community by donating to organizations like the Latino STEM Alliance and Run to Home Base.
This year, I am leading Pfizer's Global 2021 Latino Summit, where I will be interviewing the CEO on how he can be more of an ally to the Latino community.
You know, it's my goal to help Latino men and women feel like they have a place in the media industry and that they can thrive in it. You know, it's my hope that young Latino kids can grow up looking at people who look like them doing their dream jobs so that they feel like they can do it too.
How I give back to the community is by volunteering my time to teach and instruct financial literacy to those who haven't had the opportunity.
I'm working to diversify the tech field by teaching kids in my community how to code.
I strongly believe in education and in advancing our Hispanic professionals in their careers.
One of the most impactful ways I step up for my community is serving on a nonprofit board. I represent my community. I'm a voice for those who are usually unheard. I help raise resources, increase effectiveness, and advance social equity at the organization and throughout my community.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to be with all of you today. I want to take this opportunity to thank NextGen Collective, the Hispanic Executive, Goldman Sachs, and everyone involved in this ceremony. I also want to thank all the parents, family, friends, and guests present today celebrating with us this amazing milestone. We wouldn't be here without all of you. My name is Stephanie Nuesi. I am a 30 under 30 honoree, and I am Dominican. I want to start this speech by thanking a few people from the class of 2021. Thank you, Jimmy Ramirez, for your hard work and dedication helping the youth in downtown Detroit. Thank you, Monica Serrano, for bringing your Latina voice to all the Hispanic families through your work at CNN. Thank you, Kathy Fernandez, for your continuous work helping Dominicans rise up. Sharing my identity with you, it's an honor. Thank you, Ish Verduzco, for being a role model in the Latino community in social media. Thank you, Victor De Lara, for showing us that one can achieve our dream careers and that limited beliefs can be broken. Thank you, class of 2021, for inspiring the world to be a better one. You see, every honoree has a journey, a story, and a voice. Here's my story. 5 years ago, I wouldn't think I would be speaking to all of you. I came to the US in 2015 when I was 16 years old. I am now 22 years old. When I came to this country, I only knew a couple of words in English. So if I mispronounce any word, I please say sorry. But should I say sorry? I don't think so, because my accent and the way I speak are part of my identity. I faced what many immigrants and Hispanic families face when coming to this country. My mom and I were laughed at for our broken English. This was something I was used to. I suffered bullying ever since I can remember. I was rejected from college in my first application. I waited a year to reapply again because I didn't know better. Imagine a teenager whose only dream was to make her parents proud. Yes, that was me. I remember walking 30 minutes every day to a public library near my house. I used to tell myself, this shall pass soon. It's only temporary. Things will get better. And honestly, that got me through some of the worst moments of my life. I used to think that I was a failure. I used to think that I disappointed everyone around me, but I just didn't know better. In 2016, I was finally accepted into college, and I saw the reality that many first gen, low income students face in both high school and college. We don't have the resources or the guidance. Our parents make big sacrifices to bring us here, and all we can think about is how to make them proud. My mom has worked since she was 14. She held many hats, from being an entrepreneur to selling candies on the street to studying electrical engineering when she was 50 years old and working long hours under the sun back in the Dominican Republic. My mom did it all. In my lowest moments, she was the force I reckoned with. That's what she is, a force to be reckoned with. That's what Latinos are. That's who we are. We're strong. We're powerful. We're loud. We're ambitious. We have a voice, and we need to be heard. We share cultural and socioeconomic beliefs. We are a strong community. I mentioned earlier how I was used to being bullied, but I was lucky enough to find a community of other Latinos who believe in my potential, even when I didn't believe in myself. That's what inspired me to start my own company when I was 19 years old, to build a community of 20,000 dreamers and to get the courage to stand in front of all of you today. I transitioned from being a shy teenager who disliked herself and who didn't think could make it through college to be a 30 under 30 honoree with all of you. I understand each and every single one of you honorees have a different story, a different background, and a different mission in life. But I also know that there's one thing we all share in common: our mission to help uplift the Latino community around the world. And if no one told you this recently, I want to remind you that your voice matters. Your talent matters. Your ambition matters. You matter. Our journey towards achieving that common goal might seem long and difficult, I know. But let's take a moment to celebrate how far we have all come. Today, I want to encourage all of you to celebrate this milestone and thank your loved ones. And as the name that holds what brought us here today, let's work on our next collective goal to pay it forward for the future generation that is looking at all of us as the role models. I want to make a change in the world by elevating the spirits of Latinos around the world. I want to help shape the way we're seen, and I want to show the world what we are capable of. Let's build more platforms. Let's create more safe spaces. Let's encourage more diversity and inclusion conversations in the workforce. Let's identify and promote talent. And let's bring our identity everywhere we go. Let's make sure to uplift Latinos and remind them and ourselves that we are all part of the change. And only by working together can we reach our goals and maximize the potential of our community. Thank you.
Today, I serve as a mentor with Denver Kids, and I also serve as a resource for my peers and other Latinx professionals who have questions about their own careers, from the interview process to negotiations to advocating for yourself.
Hola, my name is Pablo Benavente. I continue to give back to my community by giving people a voice, the tools, and the relationships necessary to have an equitable share of the economic and social wealth around my community. And I'm doing that by serving on the board of directors for Monument Impact and serving in commissions at the city level and the county level.
So now, to give back to my community, I currently serve on the board of directors for the Milwaukee Area Health Education Center.
Growing up, I don't remember seeing any cartoons or any characters that looked like me or my family. So now that I get to make cartoons for a living, I want to make sure that every single kid gets a chance to see themselves in a real, authentic, but most importantly, aspirational way.
Every day I have the opportunity to give back to the community, and for a lot of people what I didn't have myself. When I first migrated to the United States, I have the opportunity to connect them to resources that will help them attain a higher education and that will give them access to affordable healthcare.
I am currently working on a variety of community initiatives, one of them being creating access to post-secondary opportunities for at-promise youth across the state of Nebraska through Peter Kiewit Foundation, and in my community work, focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives to ensure that BIPOC communities are equally represented at major decision-making tables in my community.
Buenas tardes, mi gente. It is a true honor to be here with you. Shout out to all of you for this incredible honor. Thank you, Pedro and Hispanic Executive, and for all the incredible folks that you have here, just lifting up our community. And special shout out to Jill for helping to coordinate all of this. To Megan, to Stephanie, Dominicanos en la casa. It's so proud. I'm a proud Dominican to see you all here. To be with you is my pleasure. So let us get right into it. Let us have some real talk. This is awesome that you are being recognized. And to be clear, this is a proud moment, but we need to have a wake-up call. And I will share with you as a proud Latino dad of two young Latinos, born and raised Dominicano, New Yorker that is now living in LA. My wife is from El Salvador. She moved to LA when she was 3, and I now have two little Latinos, Sebastian, who is 6, my daughter, Sienna, who is 3. And it's interesting now that I have my own company and my own family, I'm really trying to figure out what are the things to really teach my kids. And part of that has to do with, kind of life lessons that I've learned. Both my parents have since passed, so it really is important for me to understand how to inspire my kids to be proud Latinos. What world are they going to be living in? And what are the things that they need to know? And so, especially with my daughter, she's only 3, Sienna, Natasha, but, I'm already telling her that, hey, honey, there is no Prince Charming. And not to kind of, bust the fairy tales and all those myths, but the reality is I want her to be strong and proud and independent as a woman, as a Latina, and that there is no Prince Charming coming to save her, and that she needs to save herself. And that is part of the whole idea of really standing up on your own 2 feet and realizing what you need to do to kind of create the world that you want to live in. And that is a really interesting parallel and insight that I had for our Latino community. Everyone talks about the power of the Latino community. Everyone loves all of the census data and all these incredible numbers, the 60 million plus and our size and, all of our kind of power. But you really have to kind of look and double click into that power, not to kind of be a Debbie Downer, but if you look at what is happening with the Latino community in this country, we are behind. We are invisible. We don't have a voice. We are not unified. And when you think about strength in numbers, the reality is there could be a situation where you have an incredibly large population and have no power. That actually was South Africa and the Black community under apartheid, right? So, just because we have large numbers does not mean that we have power. And I am deeply concerned after over 20 plus years working in tech, what is happening to our community? How are we going to succeed politically, economically, and socially? And the reality is when it comes to kind of political power, we're the Latinos in power. Sure, people could say AOC, but we're all the other Latinos. We are so underrepresented when it comes to our percent of the voting population, let alone the overall population, but we're not represented, so we have no voice there. And when it comes to economics, we all read the stats about, kind of Latinos are starting their own businesses, especially Latinas as the growth engine. But what of those businesses are really scaling? I am a startup entrepreneur and I have my own kind of, ed tech creator economy startup. And, knock on wood, we have been able to raise capital. We have an incredibly diverse investor base, but this is hard. And it is really tough to raise capital when you are a Latino. And, if we look at all the numbers, where are the industries that are growing? How are we going to compete in a world where you need to have data, where machine learning is going to be controlling every single industry? And if you do not have the power of that type of tech, you're going to be left behind. And then when you think about all the other areas of our economy, we're going to be living in the AI century. So anything that can be automated will be. I mean, just think about that. I always ask folks, when I used to do talks in real life, in person, I would ask folks, who here thinks that AI is going to take away jobs? Raise your hand. And everyone would raise their hand. And then I'd ask the question, who here thinks AI is going to take your job? And it would get really quiet. And the reality is automation is coming. And it's actually been, kind of researched, and all the studies are out that says that the Latino community will be the hardest hit because of automation and machine learning. So this is a wake-up call. And the good news is we are going to really have an incredible opportunity to stand up, to represent, and to be our own Prince Charming, because we have future leaders like yourselves. And so what I want to do is just have a little bit of perspective and something that I have found super helpful for me. When I was in college, I actually took Japanese for 4 years. I lived in Japan for a bit, and I kind of fell upon this whole philosophy called Ikigai. So please look it up. It's a wonderful philosophy, Ikigai. And the idea of Ikigai is really about understanding one's reason for being, one's purpose. And it really is this kind of interesting intersection across 4 different vectors. What you love, which can be described as your passion, what you are good at, which I call your power, your superpower, what the world needs when you really think about how do you kind of connect with people, and then ultimately, what can you get paid for? That's all about getting paid. And a truly balanced, purpose-driven life has all 4 of those vectors. And if you only have 1 or 2 of them checked off, you might be missing out. And so what I would ask all of you, especially at this early stage of your career, because you have the world ahead of you. And so what an incredible opportunity to truly understand your purpose. What are you really about? What are you really put on this planet to do? Life is short. And, you don't think about it until you actually lose a loved one. But it was a very, kind of eye-opening moment when my son was born in 2015, and my father had passed, basically a decade ago. And then my mother was on her last legs of cancer. And so she ended up passing in 2016. So my mother wasn't even able to experience her grandson. And so those are the moments that you just really have this like flash of lightning where you're like, wow, everything is put in focus. Everything is put in perspective. And we have limited time on this planet. And from that moment on, as soon as my son was born, I was like, I don't want to waste another minute. And I kind of looked around me and like, what are we doing with my time, with my life? What do we see out there? And what kind of world is he going to be raised in? And, kind of shout out to, Ingrid for, being in, kind of animation, over at Moonbug. I know Renee, he's awesome. But we also had this idea of, well, what if we actually are able to have creators from around the world help kids learn and tell these stories in culturally authentic ways? And that was the inspiration for me and my co-founder, who is also Latina, Susie Jaramillo. And it was actually 2 Latino families that came together. My wife, Nuria, and I. Nuria is now, one of the most senior Latinas at Facebook. And then Susie and her husband, Carlos Hoyos, and Carlos is a world-class data scientist at IBM. So we are truly a Latino-founded company that is trying to put our dent in the universe by helping kids learn. But when you think about that purpose, this is something that is bigger than all of us, right? And so really digging deep, asking yourself that question, what is your person? What is your reason for being? If you have a limited time on this planet, what are you going to do? And all of you are on to such an incredible head start. I mean, I know when I was under 30, I was not doing anything that you're all doing. So you're ahead of the game, but you can't stop. And we need to have strength in numbers. Nobody cares about us. That's the real talk. If you look at, all the diversity conversation, we're not getting our fair share. We're not represented. We need to have folks like Pedro, a Hispanic executive, representing to tell Latino stories because our stories aren't being told. We need to have folks like Saul Trujillo, who actually is not just our investor in Encantos, he's our chairman. And I don't know if you know Saul, but Saul Trujillo was the first Latino to be the CEO of a Fortune 150 company as the CEO of US West, and then went on to be the CEO of 2 other global telecom companies and was on the board of Bank of America and Target and PepsiCo, and he's like the only one, and I'm sure probably none of you have ever even heard of Saul's name. He runs that conference called Latitude now with Emilio Stefan at the end of September every year. Think about in the fashion industry, Sandra Campos, did you guys know that Sandra was the CEO of Diane von Furstenberg? For Zio, like if you're in the fashion industry, you need to meet Sandra. And then think about for all the folks in media, whether it's Claudia or Jessica or Katia or Monica, Jim. Nelly Galan, she was one of the first true Latina media moguls. And so she now has her own production company. She does a ton of stuff. But, we are out there, but we need to have strength in numbers because nobody's coming to save us. And when you think about where we are in the ecosystem right now, we need to be loud, but we need to lift each other up. If you ever see any of my, kind of tags on LinkedIn, because I do a lot of posting on LinkedIn, my hashtag is always consistently Latinos Unidos. And so I don't care if you're Dominicano, Cubano, Boricua, Mexican, whatever, you're Latino. And you are always going to be viewed as Latino by everyone else. So we have to find a way to come together and lift each other up. And this group right here, this inaugural cohort, you are now the network. So you need to stay together. I hope you have your own WhatsApp group and that you're all talking and you're going to help each other out. And when you know there's a job opening, you're going to hook someone up and, hey, here's an opportunity for a deal or, kind of a sale opportunity, and you're going to call that person. We need to help each other out. And this, by the way, is the playbook that the Jewish community, that the Black community, that so many other communities have done, but we need to do this for ourselves. It is a higher bar. There are too many of us that are too disaggregated. And so we have to find a way to come together as a community. That is part of my purpose. I'm trying to lift the Latino community. But when you think about your own individual purpose, how are you going to make your impact and your dent in the universe? Come back to that Ikigai example. What are those 4 vectors? When you think about what you love, what are you truly passionate about that you just get up in the morning? And it doesn't matter what time in the morning. I got up super early today because I found out that unexpectedly, we actually had in the Apple App Store the app of the day. And so this is something that was not planned. Here's a little iPad. And if you scroll over here is Canticos, and that is the app of the day. This is a black box at Apple, so I could not influence this. I had no idea. But when you get up in the morning, are you truly passionate about what you are doing? And by the way, if you are not passionate, quit that job. You will get another job. Latinos are in demand. You are smart. You are 30 under 30. Do something that you are going to be passionate about. And absolutely get the skills, get the experience, and time box it. If you're not passionate, but you need to put, kind of those 2 years in finance, because I've been there, right? Or you're at a media company and you're trying to figure out how do I get that promotion? Or you're in tech and you're trying to figure out how do I get from, this marketing job into a product job. Do that, but time box it. Make sure you know what the goal is. It is okay to have a stepping stone. But if you understand what truly is your passion, what you love, I promise you that is going to feed into every other aspect of your Ikigai. And so when you understand your passion and then truly understand what you are good at, what are your superpowers? And to be clear, this is not that you can do math really quick in your head, because by the way, a machine will do that a lot faster than you. What are you good at that is truly unique to you, that no one else can do? You just heard Stephanie. I'm so proud as a Dominicano to see her telling her story, and she stood up and look at what she's doing. That is unique to her. And all that accent and the words, that's all part of the flavor. Those are all the chocolate chips in that cookie. So I want to see what is truly unique about you. What is your superpower? Something that no one else can do. Because if you haven't noticed, we are now in the creator economy. And the creator economy means that the power and the rents are not going to go to the big platforms like a Facebook or whatever else, where everyone is getting basically their content for free and you don't get compensated. The creator economy is about you getting paid for your uniqueness and your individuality and your superpowers. And when you combine that with what does the world really need, and take a step back, and I think it's so inspiring to see so many of you doing something that is also nonprofit, helping the community, helping people, but helping each other, helping our Latino community, nuestra gente. We need to stand up, and that is absolutely something that the world needs. And then do not forget to get paid. Hispanic Heritage Month, I cannot tell you how many folks have reached out. Hey, can you talk to our company? Can you talk to our ERG? I'm like, are you going to pay me? Because this ain't free. I'm running a business. This isn't a charity. I know for a fact when it's African, kind of American, Black History Month, or it's going to be, Native American thing or whatever it is, people get paid. During Pride Month, those folks are getting paid. So why can't we get paid? Do not be afraid to ask. Sin pena. Because if there is no money, there is no mission. And if there is no mission, there is no impact. So please do not forget to get paid. And that means not just at a macro level, that's at the individual level. When you get that paycheck, pay yourself. How are you investing for the future? Because we know that we are so underbanked, but we are also underserved. And there is such a dearth of financial literacy. And so we have to introduce to our family, to our friends, to our familia, all that financial literacy so they understand how to get paid and participate in obviously the innovation economy. And so when you understand those 4 vectors, what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for, at the intersection of those 4 vectors, that is your reason for being. That is your purpose. And my wish to all of you is that you find your purpose as soon as possible. It is a journey. You don't have to have all the answers figured out today, but every day, wake up and ask yourself, am I living up to my purpose? Am I finding my ikigai? And I guarantee you, every day is going to get a little bit closer. You're going to be able to understand your voice. And please, whatever you do, be a champion for Latinos everywhere. Be a part of this community. Be a vocal, active part. Let us hear your voice. And if you see someone kicked down or needing help, lift them up. If we don't ask, how can I help? No one else is, because again, it is up to us. So with that, I thank you for this opportunity. If you need anything, I am absolutely available. You can find me on all platforms. Link in with me. Follow me on Twitter. You could text me or you could email me, swp@encantos.co, as in Colombia. So it's not the .com, encantos.co. Please support a Latino or Latina entrepreneur. Download our Encantos app, which is new, it just came out. But please let us know how we can be helpful, because we're here to lift you up. You are the next generation. You are our future. And together, it will be Latinos Unidos. Gracias.
Ways that I've been helping out my community is through using my voice and education. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. Knowledge is power. So letting your community know what's going on, what resources they have, and how they can get help.
We are working to lower the barriers of entry into creative industry, specifically fashion, for commonly underrepresented communities.
Hi, my name is Nikki Garcia. At my previous role at the Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation, we were tackling the most pressing problems facing Los Angeles with a mission to improve education, healthcare, homelessness, and social justice for all Angelenos. Today, I am ensuring that my family and the community around me understand the importance of receiving the COVID-19 vaccine to help us continue to fight this global pandemic.
My family and I currently run a nonprofit in the Dominican Republic to give back to our communities. There we sponsor 30 kids to go to high school and also teach them leadership training.
Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie Nuesi. I'm 22 years old and I'm a NextGen 30 under 30 for 2021. Now, at 22 years old, I'm developing programs to help high school students, college students, and professionals to advance their careers through resume workshops, mock interviews, and much more so that they can be the best version of themselves.
I'm a board member with the Hispanic Business Council with the Indianapolis Chamber. I mentor high school students with the Starfish Initiative here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm also part of the Alumni Advisory Board for the IU Fairbanks School of Public Health.
To leave my community no less but greater than I found it, I'm working with business and community leaders on programs that recruit, develop, and promote the next generation.
Wow, that was fun. Thank you so much, Megan, Stephanie, and Stephen, for bringing it today. That was so inspiring. Thank you to everyone also for joining us, for tuning in and joining in this recognition of Latinx leadership, celebrating our amazing 30 under 30 honorees. Again, I want to thank our partners at Goldman Sachs for your ongoing support. And to everyone, I do want to mention, we invite you to keep an eye out on the NextGen Collective Careers newsletter. It goes out twice a month. And that's where we share early career opportunities from Goldman Sachs and our other partner communities. We're always looking to promote great jobs to you in an effort to continue promoting our collective advancement. So definitely stay on the lookout. Now we're shifting gears to our fun final surprise, which is a performance by the Chicago-based Mariachi Imperial Azteca, whose member is actually one of Hispanic Executive's content and advertising managers, Roman Magallanes. So I'm so excited to hear from you, Roman. Thank you all. Enjoy and have a great evening. Take care.
Hola, my name is Roman Magallanes, and I am part of Mariachi Imperial Azteca. Sí, señor! I am also a content and advertising manager here at Hispanic Executive. It is my pleasure to celebrate NextGen Collective 30 under 30 honorees. Enjoy.
Con su rebozadera, que le